Well, my name is Whitley Lemon, and I am with Restoring Hope with the Hopeful Connection podcast. And I have JP Sell with me today. I'm so excited to get to visit with him. I got to meet him briefly on November 5th, whenever our Excel Day program came out to Freedom Park to fish. And it actually was a very special day for you. It was your birthday, and you had some other things going on that day. So, JB, can you just introduce yourself and tell us who you are and what you're all about?
Well, my name's JP Sell, and thank you for letting me get to be here today.
Yes.
What an amazing day. And the Excel program coming out and visiting Freedom Park. Wow. And even on our birthday, it's pretty special. It's your birthday, but when you get all those folks singing happy birthday to you, and then, we had cupcakes and everything, it just made it that much more better.
Yes.
Best day ever. So, I'm the director over Diversified Freedom for Disabilities. We also supervise over Freedom Park and then Anglers for Life and National Youth Fishing Association. We're involved in many different groups that in different areas, mainly for youth, and we've really got more into nursing home groups and then special residential facility groups. Make-A-Wish, hospice, different stuff like that. But our real specialty is working with children and veterans with disabilities. And we help develop special adaptive equipment where they can enjoy the great outdoors because, our best playground, the good Lord made us the best playground out here.
Yes, He
and
did.
We just love playing in it. You can't go wrong with all that. It's a little bit better than a video game, but we kind of bring a little video game into being in the great outdoors. And just a lot of different things.
Yes, absolutely. So where did this dream of yours come from? How did all this get started? What was the point where you're like, I'm doing this?
Oh my! Well, that's kind of a lengthy,
loaded
deal.
question, I'm sure.
Yeah, I have always had a passion of working with persons with disabilities. We've not really had any persons with disabilities in our family until here recently. Which makes it good because we're pretty advanced on what we can do. And different realms of disabilities. From being fully quadriplegic, autistic, and going through there. But I guess all my career, I've worked in the propane industry for like 28 years. And got hurt myself. And ended up selling the companies and going there. And during that whole time, I had a passion where I would volunteer and help persons with disabilities. Just pretty much anyone to get them in the outdoors. The outdoors has just been a passion of mine my whole life. Doing that. And then it just it just pushed you in a different perspective. And sometimes we don't understand the doors that the pathways we go. We just put it in the good Lord's hands and go with it. And I think it's just those choices. And maybe it was just my time to switch positions and do that. So that's what I did. I work a lot with Camp Barnabas. I've done a lot with MBA. Oh my gosh. Empowers Abilities, Arc of the Ozarks.
Wow.
Then your group there, Restoring Hope, what an honor.
Yes.
A lot of hospice groups, or persons that's on hospice where the families has reached out. It's and then a lot of nursing home groups. We've had a lot of nursing home facilities. Here's kind of the deal. You take something that you've done like fishing. Fishing is amazing sport. I mean, you're there. It's a sport we've done since we was 4 years old, and we're going to do it till we're 94 years old or whatever.
Yeah, anybody can do it.
Anyone can do it.
Yeah.
And when you take someone that's been in a residence facility for many years, because a lot of folks have been, and they come out there and they get a chance to catch a bluegill or a bass or a catfish or whatever it is, you can just see the youth in their eyes.
The thrill comes back.
It really does.
Yeah.
It really does. And we've been so blessed. We had one resident. It's a little bit of a story. It's so
That's
hilarious.
okay. Let's hear it.
We had, she was 93 years old. She used to kayak her whole life. Her husband passed away. She's 71 years old, and she decided she wanted to go kayaking. Nobody go kayaking.
Oh my goodness! Yeah.
So she, very independent woman. Very
I believe it. Yeah.
She loads up and goes kayaking.
Yeah.
She comes back. the kids were not very happy, I believe, and so I think they made her sell her kayak.
Oh, no.
So something had happened, I think, on a medical part,
Yeah.
and she'd end up, I believe, in the resident home for almost 20 years on there because of some of her heart, but I don't remember the whole story.
Yeah.
So when she was coming out to her place and she found out we had adaptive kayaking, she was all excited.
Yeah.
This lady shows up, super sweet lady.
Yeah.
I mean, very independent, strong woman. You can just visit her and you can just tell.
Yeah.
But she had tape on her hands. So I go, what's the tape for? She goes, so I don't get blisters on kayaking. She knew.
Wow.
I mean, it was amazing.
She was prepared.
She was very prepared. So we pulled an adaptive kayak. She goes, well, what's that? And I said, well, it's a kayak to keep you from tipping over and going from there. And she's like, well, I can use her. I said, I understand, but we kind of have to have this just to be on the safe side.
Yes. Yeah.
She goes, okay. So we got her in, got her down in the kayak, shoved her off out there. She said, I don't have the strength to push like I used to. I said, we got you. So we pushed her out and her face was just priceless.
Wow.
It's just like she got 50 years younger.
Oh, my goodness.
Just doing something.
At 93.
93.
That's incredible.
Yes. The other part of that story is that her friend was sitting off back behind, and she goes, do you think I could kayak with my friend out there? She's like 88.
Yeah.
And I was like, sure. We pull another adaptive kayak. Yeah, let's get it done. So we get her in the kayak. We get her there. We're going to push you towards your friend. And so we pushed her off, and she's just kind of drifting out to paddle to the left.
Yeah.
Come on, let's go. And so she just kept drifting. The director of the nursing home come over there, and she goes, you have a way to get her, don't you? I go, yeah, is everything good?
Yeah.
So we got other kayaks here and stuff, but she's not going to turn over. And she goes, you know she's blind. I go, what? She goes, she can see shades.
Oh, my goodness.
She's blind.
She wasn't forthcoming with that information.
No,
she didn't want to hear no.
That.
Yeah.
She goes, she can see shades.
Yeah.
So we go over to the fishing pontoon, that you guys were at, and she was drifting over there. And I said, hey, and she's trying to get her bearing, see who's hollering at her, And I go, why didn't you tell us you were blind?
Yeah.
And she goes, I didn't think you'd let me go.
Oh, yeah.
I've never kayaked before, and I've always wanted to.
Wow.
And she goes, and that is my friend out there.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. So we pushed her off towards her friend. Her friend was coming down there. They stayed out there for hours.
Oh, my goodness.
For the whole day.
Yeah.
They just drifted around out there. Just two young girls.
Yeah.
At that time.
So cool.
But when I shoved her off towards her friend, she hollered at me. She goes, young man. I said, yes, ma'am. She goes, would you mind getting my cane over there behind that bench that you have over there? I goes, yeah. She goes, I hid it back there because I didn't want you. And I'm like, I got you. Went back there. It was one of those special canes for persons with blind disabilities with a golf ball on the end of it.
Yeah.
And so
she hit it.
She hit it. That is so classic.
That's funny. So were these ladies from Rogersville nursing home facilities, or are you pulling from other towns as well?
Towns.
Okay.
So we had a group from Marshfield, of course, Rogersville there.
Yeah.
Springfield. We've had 3 different groups from Springfield that's come in. Down towards Ozark.
Yeah.
We've got a group from Ozark coming in. There's been about 11 different nursing homes that's come to our facility there.
Wow.
And resident care centers.
How do people find out about that? They just know somebody that knows you,
they do. So
it's kind of word of mouth?
It is kind of a word of mouth. We're very limited on funds and stuff.
Yeah,
and then if we get any funds, we put it into special projects. Like we're trying to do a special project for a handicap lift to help get persons in these adaptive kayaks. And that's kind of our project for the 2026 season. And going with there.
Yeah.
But advertising and stuff, we post a little bit on social media, and we can probably do a little bit better job of that because we get so wrapped up with our special events.
Right, you're busy.
And we are busy and so forth.
Yeah.
But really, it's really word of mouth. Like you didn't know we existed.
No.
And then here we are today.
No, yeah. Had no idea. And you're like, it's like right off the exit. You're like 2 minutes or just a 3-minute drive right off there in Rogersville. Close. And I'm like, I had no idea this existed. And it's breathtakingly beautiful. You guys have done such a great job setting that up. It's a gorgeous property.
Thank you so much. We were very blessed with that property there.
Yeah.
It used to be an excavation site for all the crossover roads.
Yeah.
There's no way we could ever have built anything like that.
Right.
But, with our good friends at Williams Construction and J&L Construction and all that, they brought 3 great big old excavators, 4 big old track dozers. They were doing testing on new track dozers.
Yeah.
So it was a win-win for everybody on that, and they were able to reshape and redevelop and made it to what it is today.
Yeah.
And we have veterans retreats out there
now.
Yeah. Small groups, but eventually we'll have larger groups.
Yeah.
And our motto is what's said at the lake stays at the lake.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty humbling experience.
Yeah. So do you have multiple locations besides the one lake there in Rogersville that you guys fish from?
Well, that is just our main hub right there.
Okay.
But we go different. We also go to different lakes. My son's really been big into all this. You know, he's a professional guide and going
now,
from
that's
there.
Andrew,
That's
correct?
Andrew.
Okay.
Yeah, and he was at the event.
Yes. Yep. Got to meet him.
And he really proud of him because he's taken a lot of that responsibility and doing a lot of that and
carrying the torch on.
He is.
Yeah.
And so I'm really proud of that.
Yeah.
And going there because there's just our park and area is very unique. There's a lot of people out there that work with persons with disabilities.
Yeah.
But it's a lot different when you work with someone with disabilities and actually know about disabilities.
Yes.
And I'm not saying we're perfect, but we figure it out. And we have a video out there that we have a young man shooting a gun with his knee.
Oh my gosh.
So we rotate the remote control, and he can't move his upper body, but he can look, and he blinks on communication. And does that, and he was shooting it all with his knee. He can move his legs, and it's more of a twitch, but he knows how to control.
Oh my gosh.
It's just amazing on how that. And of course, sip and puff, we can do that, but we find that if we can do any kind of little movement on the body, I find that is the better part, because the sip and puff, when you need it the most, it gets backed up with saliva and does all this, and the mechanism don't work as well.
Yeah.
So
sometimes a split second counts.
Well, you hunt, everyone hunts and stuff. That second,
it does.
That's the only second you're going to get.
It does. It's a make or break sometimes.
It really does. It really does. And but yeah, we travel back to the question if there are other lakes. We do events like we just wrapped up a huge veterans event. On Table Rock Lake down at Big Cedars with Bass Pro Shops, and we had 117 veterans there for that brought in from Congressman Burleson's office, and Senator Schmidt's office, and we just kind of worked together. Because we couldn't do any of this if it wasn't for our veterans.
Yeah.
If you really think
true.
about that.
So true.
And, I have so much deep respect and emotion. And we're going to be making a post on our Facebook page here about our Fishing Dreams for Veterans events.
Cool.
And we get a lot of our college anglers, through our National Youth Fishing. They come and volunteer. And when you get that age group, with an age group from the Korean War and Vietnam, we used to have veterans from World War II, but there's not very many of those left right
I'd
now.
say not.
And you get that generation, the young generation, and that.
Yeah.
You just see the bonding.
Oh
and
my gosh.
It's just so heartfelt. So
yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I get emotional thinking about it.
Well, yeah, you're about to make me cry. That's so incredible. Like, I had no idea all of this was going on. So it's so cool getting to hear these stories. I could just sit and listen to you talk about this stuff all day.
It's good stuff.
I would love to know more about the adaptive equipment that you've created, whether it's hunting or fishing, and maybe a couple stories from, either or more if you've got some. So maybe start with the fishing equipment. Did you build this stuff yourself, or how did that work?
So yes. So basically, a good friend of mine, he had disabilities, and how this all kind of got started, all this. And he was a semi-quad. And he pulls me up to there and he says, JP, have you ever taken anyone fishing? I go, I do take people fishing. He goes, have you ever taken anyone like me fishing, where he's paralyzed there? And I said, just from the bank, but never from my boat. I haven't from the boat. He goes, I said, do you want to go? Yeah. And he says, I would love to go. Yeah. And so I said, okay, we'll go. So I called a friend of mine up and I said, hey, I got a gentleman, a friend of mine that wants to go fishing. And I go, I kind of don't want to go by myself because he's a semi-quad, paralyzed waist down. Right. And he goes, yeah, we can go.
Okay.
And I said,
Yeah.
what works best? He goes, Tuesdays or Wednesdays are good for me. So I called my friend up. I said, hey, what are you doing in the next couple of weeks, on a Tuesday, Wednesday? And he goes, well, I'm working. I said, think you can get off work? He goes, yeah, I think I can get off work. Why? What do you got? I go, we're going to go fishing. He just got quiet.
Yeah.
And so anyways, I said, we'll go pick you up at your work there that morning, and then we'll go fish that morning. We'll eat lunch, and I'll bring you back, and you either go to work or go home, one of the two.
Yeah.
And he says, that would be amazing. So we planned it. Actually, it was like the following week. We get up there. We go down to Cape Fair Marina there on Table Rock Lake.
Yep.
And we go and I opened up the door, and I said, so how does this work?
Yeah.
He goes, I said, your disability, and I'm here, so what do I need to do?
Right.
He says,
how can I help you?
Yeah, what can I do? And he said, and I'm very blunt. I mean, I'm not afraid to ask anyone.
Right.
And that's the thing with a person with disabilities, if you have a question or anything, go ask.
Right.
Don't just stare at the person with a disability.
Exactly.
I mean, just go ask.
Exactly.
They don't mind telling.
Right.
And if they do get offended, well, you have the courage to ask.
Yeah.
And you asking means you're caring.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I don't look at it
So
as an
right.
insult. I mean, that's just the way I look at it. And nothing bothers me whenever people just start looking at someone if they got a disability. I go, just go ask. If you're curious, they're going to be, and all, like you care and stuff.
Exactly.
So anyways, I opened the door and he says, just pick me up like a sack of taters and toss me on the boat, and I'll walk on my hands to the seat.
Wow.
So I
Like a
grabbed him. He
sack of
probably didn't weigh
taters.
60 pounds. So I tossed him up there like a sack of taters.
Yeah.
He walked on his hand, got in the passenger seat, and or in the middle seat rather. And then so we decided to got the boat launched out. My buddy got in the boat with me. We get up on plane. I'm looking at him, and I said, dude, you all right? I stopped. His water's in his eyes. He goes, JP, he goes, I just want you to know, he goes, I watch fishing every weekend. Is this what it's like? And I said, no, we just got up on the boat on pad.
Yeah.
And I said, Will, he goes, I want the full experience.
Yeah.
I said, all right. So I got a face mask for him. I said, it'll help you breathe. And I said, we're going to run way back up into Flat Creek. And those that listen knows Cape Fair, they know Flat Creek. And so I said, I know it like the back of my hand. And I swear to you, I will not put you in harm's way. And if you get nervous, you tap me on the leg, and we'll slow down and go through there.
Yeah.
And he says, okay. We ran all the way up past the restaurant, way past up in the bins. I mean, landed it down, took the face mask. He was crying. And I go, are you all right? He goes, that's the most exhilarating experience I've ever had in my life,
Yeah.
And so I said, well, it's going to get better.
Yeah.
So we get him up on the chair, ratchet strap him, so you don't fall forward or anything.
Yeah.
And fish was jumping. The bait fish was everywhere.
Yeah.
It was during the springtime and stuff.
Okay.
And so we caught fish after. It was a
What were you guys
day.
fishing for?
Bass.
Okay.
Yeah, just regular bass fishing. They were just stacked in there. We had several 2-pounders, had a 4 and a couple 3s, and about 10:30, 11 o'clock, he was tired.
Yeah.
I was tired.
Oh, I believe it. If you're catching them, that wears you out.
It was. And so
in a good way, though.
In a very good way.
Yeah.
So we came back and we went and ate at a restaurant there at the marina at the time. And so anyways, took him back. He calls me back to his office one day and I said, are you all right? He says, yeah. He goes, I just want to thank you again for that trip. And I was like, you're welcome. He goes, it is an honor to get to take you.
Yeah.
And he goes, I just want you to know, JP, he goes, I could probably count on both my hands the number of people that made a promise to me. And he goes, what I found out over my whole life of being disabled is that people will remember you today and forget you tomorrow and make promises today and don't pass the promises. And he goes, you're one of those people that came back.
Wow.
And he
came through for him. Yeah.
And I was like, so I guess that was really the kind of cracked edge. And I said, well, we'll go again. And he said, well, I'd love to, but he goes, we'll see how it goes, because he already had a rod in his back, to keep him upright.
Oh, okay.
And he says he had a degenerate, and he says eventually he'll start losing the ability in his arms and hands.
Oh, man.
And I said, well, what if I made a pole, electric reel or something, and I set the hook and you reel it in?
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
Yeah.
He said that would be amazing.
Yeah.
And I said,
work
okay,
with that.
we can do that. So I was excited. I was trying to figure out ways to do this,
Yeah.
working and doing this. And so I was trying to figure it out. And then I was getting real close. And then my friend, he had got pneumonia that fall. And then he ended up passing away.
Aw.
So didn't get to do it. So I put it all back in the box,
Yeah.
put it away, and didn't care if I ever saw it again. That was just, it was pretty hard.
Yeah.
But I still volunteered and helped persons, but I hadn't taken anyone else fishing or anything.
Right.
Fast forward 2 years later, maybe 3, I got asked by a local NWTF chapter at Rogersville Strutters is what it was, and asked if I could help them put on a benefit fishing tournament so they could earn monies to purchase their own shooting apparatus.
Okay.
Because they were big into hunting. We was all supporting them part of this. And I said, absolutely. So we were trying to get an apparatus so we could take a young girl named Courtney fishing.
Okay.
Beautiful little blonde haired girl.
Yeah.
Bright pink wheelchair. Oh my gosh. She's so amazing. And she's Andrew's age, in the 24, 25 range. And now, but back then she's probably 8, maybe 8, 10, something like that.
Little thing.
Yeah. Just adorable. Absolutely adorable.
Yeah.
So anyways, I said, so we had an amazing day. And that morning we were at the same restaurant where me and my friend was at. And I threw a piece of bread out there, and there was a big bass that come up, and it didn't matter. I bet he was fed there ever since he's a little fry, little
I have
thing.
no doubt. Yeah.
And tossed it out there, and
that is fun getting to feed him.
And it come up and just swarmed right there. I mean, it was huge. And Courtney was there, and she saw that, and I said, "What do you think of that?" She goes, "That was cool." And I go, "Okay." I was like, she goes, "JP, can I ask you a question?" I said, "Sure." And we're all there and stuff. And she goes, "Do you take people fishing?" And I go, "I do." Have you ever taken anybody like me fishing? She's in her bright pink wheelchair. I have. Yeah.
Yeah.
Big stuff.
Yeah.
And I said, "Would you like to go?" And she goes, "I would love to go." Well, we'll go.
Yeah.
I go, "We can't go now. This is July, August.
Right.
But next July, August, let's plan on doing it." She goes, "You promise?" And I said, "I promise."
Yeah.
You pinky swear? When you make a pinky swear, that's like an oath. That's an oath.
It's a contract. You better,
Yeah, it's going to happen. And so, anyways, I was ready to get that tournament over with.
Yeah.
And because she brought up, she goes, "I can't reel," because she has CP.
Okay.
And she goes, I said, "Well, I was working for a reel for my friend."
Yeah.
And I go, "How about," and I made a promise to him that, "How about I set the hook and you reel it in and we work together?"
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was ready to get the tournament over.
Yep.
I was ready to
get to
back
work
and get back to work.
Yep.
And so that was the crack of the egg. That fall in July. Of course, I had gotten hurt during that time, and lost like 78% of my lung capacity. A lot of people didn't know that.
Goodness.
Yeah, it was a propane
that's
deal.
Scary.
It was scary. I wasn't supposed to be there, but these children, they saved me.
Yes.
Through that.
Yeah.
So.
Definitely.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No, don't be sorry. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
So got back to work.
So went back to work, built this reel, worked on a caster part of it. A friend of mine had built this one caster, and it was great, but it just wasn't there.
Okay.
And so tore it all down. I always was a person of gadgets and tinkering stuff. And redid that where now it's air operated, and it can cast a bait up to 100 and some feet.
Oh my goodness!
Automatically and do that.
Whoa!
But Miss Courtney got to use that and caught her very first fish ever. But what a lot of people didn't know during that time, we had like 2 medical boats out there for me on my behalf, and then my wife and my friends, my stepbrother, they were all out there, and we made that promise to that little girl.
Yes.
That was the true start of the Fishtails organization.
Okay.
And went on from there. And I go, we made it this far. Maybe we can go a little farther. And then today, we've worked with over 50,000 veterans right now. I couldn't tell you how many children. We do hospital programs. We we've
hospital
taken,
programs?
we do. So we travel during.
Whoa.
It's hard to compete with Santa Claus.
Well, yeah.
And Spider-Man and
Right.
Batman, but
Yeah.
but you get a pro angler in there, it's a pretty special day
Yeah, well,
also.
very
So we
cool.
try to go after the holidays, and
Uh-huh.
we'll go and we'll visit. I've been to Shriners Hospital many times, and
Okay.
then Mercy there in Cox and all
Yeah.
of them. And
Yeah.
we had one young man that my son was all part of, and
Mhm.
we can all be there to help kids.
Mhm.
But you get a young kid to help another young kid,
Yeah.
that's pretty special stuff.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you like change communities, and the future is whenever you can get the youth saturated in these opportunities like Camp Barnabas.
Yes.
Too. We actually had our Restoring Hope conference there, not this last year, but the previous year. And they had volunteers, like a wrestling team came,
nice.
and then some church groups came, and they volunteered to be with our individuals for the day.
That's awesome.
And like, to me, that's incredible. And I told my oldest daughter about that, and she goes, I want to go there and volunteer. Just from hearing like just the impact and how incredible it is. So you're absolutely right.
Yes.
When you can work with peers, that are disabled, or, even closer to your age too, I think that's, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Incredible.
It's very humbling.
Yeah.
It is. Yep.
Definitely.
So, but that's really how it all kind of come about.
Yeah.
And then with our shooting and building adaptive poles for everyone. And,
Yeah.
and I try to make it where I try to visit with the kids or the older persons, because I want them to be able to enjoy, but you don't want to make it too easy.
Right. Yeah.
I look at it as more of a rehabilitation or some way that you can work certain muscles that you probably haven't worked before.
Yeah.
And
okay.
going with that, because you'd be surprised if you're like in a wheelchair and you're just kind of like this all the time and not doing things and there's muscles that you can keep working, and it gives you probably a little bit better value of life, possibly, or going from that right there and so forth. Like
definitely.
And that's why I guess it's an interview, but I always visit with kids and find out what they want. What is your goal? What is the goal?
Right.
And when you work with a child with a disability and they really figure out that they can do this, doctor, I say this all the time, and doctors are amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, they know their stuff. That's why they put the time in, they know their stuff.
Yep.
But, I try to think of like playing tic-tac-toe. They tell you what you're only going to be able to do and what you can do.
So true.
And I don't believe in the cat game. Let's put the X or the zero outside the box and try to figure out what we can do with that.
Yeah.
And
don't put limitations on people.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And there's some things that you won't be able to do.
Right.
But,
that's true. We do have to live in reality
true.
At the same time. Yeah.
But if we can figure out a way to get out, and then when you get a child that accomplishes a fishing pole or accomplishes shooting or anything like that,
you're
going to step back and you're going to realize we're going to be the ones behind.
Right.
Because we're going to try and catch up with them. And that's a pretty special. But, some of the most humbling experiences is that when you see a parent or a loved one or a guardian or whoever that is with that child, and parents with children with disabilities are rock stars.
Yeah.
I mean, you
definitely.
The kids with the disabilities, I mean, they're going through things, of course, but to them, they're in their own, they're fine.
Right.
But the parents, they get caught up. It gets emotional. But whenever a parent sees a special child accomplish a goal or just can show they're doing, I think it's very rewarding for the parents.
Oh yeah. Probably
saying,
more,
wow,
honestly, in some cases.
We all want the best for our kids.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And they see that that's where I get pretty emotional with that because you just, there's that piece of part of their lives that they're doing that's
right.
good.
Feel like maybe it could never have been a possibility, and witnessing it happen. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that is our goal. People have asked me before, goes, what is it that drives you to do this? Or drives on the, the fishing out there with a handicapped person and stuff. And I said, well, I'm fishing for time. And they're like, well, what does that mean? You know, and I said,
Mm-hmm.
when a child hooks onto a fish with our adaptive equipment and they're pushing that button that's reeling that fish in,
Mm-hmm.
time stops.
Mm.
That is the peace between us and the good Lord.
Yep.
There's no disability. There's no
Mm.
problems at home.
Mm-hmm.
There's no anything. It's just you and what's at the end of that line.
Mm.
And everything. That child don't realize that I'm in a wheelchair or
No.
I'm in a cast or
No.
I'm in this. And everyone in there, nobody thinks of that.
Yeah.
They're thinking about what's on the end of the line. It's amazing what a fish can do.
Whoa.
Through that. Really gets deep. It really does. And
Yeah.
that is the moment where no matter how bad it may be or how disabled you may be,
right,
there's no such thing during that window of that reel.
Mm-mm. Yeah, just there in that moment. That's beautiful.
Yeah, that's
Man.
what I look for.
Yeah, that's incredible. So tell me a little bit more about the shooting adaptive equipment.
Okay.
So the fishing was the first equipment that you put together and started using, and then when did the shooting adaptive equipment come into the picture?
So the equipment, I can't really take credit on the equipment. That belonged to be adaptive equipment.
Okay.
But we've altered them.
But utilizing it. Altered it?
We've altered it. Well,
okay.
now where it's got a 2-push button safety deal. And now Brian and them, I believe they use that deal. They do an amazing job. If you're looking for any shooting apparatuses, they've got it down.
Yeah.
But we work on the plates. We work on the different television sets, the different, what we can do, like on the remote control, where we can make it easier for them to use. Like I was telling you earlier, we had a young man shooting with his legs.
Yeah,
he could twitch his leg to move the apparatus right, left, up, and down. We just turned the adaptive equipment, and we figure out what kind of ability they have to make that equipment work. And so, of course, we've redone motors. We've changed gear deals where we can make it go faster and slower and up and down, and
depending on their needs,
needs and so forth. We've put big screen TVs. We've had them come the screens all the way up. So we adapt to different things on that, and you have to because not everybody's the same. Right. Even when disabilities, you may have special disability that 10 million other people have, but your abilities are going to be different.
Exactly.
And unique, for that disability. And that's what you got to think outside the box on. And going from there. And you got to understand you got to understand hunting. You got to understand fishing. You got to understand the different techniques. Do we go on a pontoon? Can we go on a bass boat? There's just so many different parts. And in the hunting, the same way. Do we put them on a trailer? Do we put them in, move them around, different aspects of that? Yeah. But the adaptive equipment, they really do an amazing job on all that. Yeah. And, but they're very pricey also. Okay. And so forth. Yeah. But, we've worked on different things. Like we've got pods that we can set up that can put a motor and rotate the gun around. And to help them turn the gun where they wouldn't have to use that equipment as well, put a rotation part on there. We've done a lot of different things with all that. Yeah. So
do you have a story that you want to share that you haven't already maybe shared about like a hunting adaptive experience or recap that one?
Sure. So I was kind of talking about Reese, what an amazing young girl, but she had a heart, situation where they had to do an emergency surgery for her. Okay. And so anyways, when they did that, she had, I guess, coded out on the operating table, and they were still hooking into her main vein on her neck so they could work on her heart, I believe it was. And so she had several like little mini strokes, and she lost a big part of her eyesight. She could see, but to look through the scope, to do anything. Right. And so anyways, a good friend of mine called me up and knew her dad. And then her dad, they had reached out to me, and I said, yeah, we can. Yeah. I think we could probably help. I mean, can she see a television? Yeah. Because, she can see, but, getting through the scope and everything. So she was able to come out to Freedom Park. Yeah. And we had shotguns set up, not high-powered rifles. It works the very same. Yeah. And she said, I can see that. Of course, we had a larger TV right there. Yeah. And she goes, I can see that. So we shot whole box of shells and out there and was blowing up balloons and turkey targets. And, we go to Camp Barnabas and we spend 3 to 4 weeks out there. Do you? And we spend 2 days a week during the different terms where most of them are on wheelchairs,
Okay.
going there.
Mm-hmm.
And we shoot turkey targets and we shoot balloons.
Gotcha.
There is nothing better than giving a handicapped child a firearm. We shoot the hell out of everything.
Yeah.
Out there. It's just fun stuff. So she was able to master this equipment.
Yeah.
And so we went out to their house,
Mm-hmm.
and my good friend Craig, he has Shooting for Dreams. He specials a lot in.
Yes, I've heard of that.
He specials a lot in with the hunting part of it too.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, we went out there and we set up this huge tent.
Mm-hmm.
We set the big plate platform. The whole family could get in there.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, this big, I think, 9-point buck came out that morning.
Mm-hmm.
And she hammered down on it.
Yeah.
And harvested that animal. And it was absolutely
incredible.
Amazing. It was one of them moments that, time just stopped.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the echo in that tent?
I was just thinking that, like, whoa.
Yeah, can you imagine? And they've got some videos, I think, out with that. And that's such a humbling experience of what nature can actually do. And it's not just children, it's adults as well. And going with there. And, it's pretty humbling.
Mm-hmm.
And going with that. And one of the parts we were all in the football and doing stuff, and she was out there, and I said, "Hey, I got you a gift out there in the truck."
Yeah.
She goes, "Well, you already give me my gift."
And
I go, "What's that?" And she goes, "There's two things me and my dad do: we football and we hunt."
Yeah.
And she goes, "I didn't know if I'd ever be able to hunt again." And she goes, "You allowed that to happen."
Yeah.
And it wasn't just me, as a team of groups of everyone.
Right.
And all the supporters that allows us to be able to change that child's life and the parents.
Yeah.
And just pretty humbling experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful. I love that story.
I had her jacking in the truck.
Yeah.
Yeah. But she said her deal was her dad.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's so special.
You just got to take the time. You just got to figure it out, thinks outside the box. There's ways that people can make things happen.
Yeah. Yeah. So how many different associations and groups are you connected with to make these things happen, or what are the names of them? I'm just curious.
You mean like Camp Barnabas and
all the things that you do.
So
National Turkey Federation,
we do things with the NWTF, we do things with Ark of the Ozarks, Restoring Hope here now.
Yeah.
Camp Barnabas, Empowers Abilities, MDA, of course, hospice and Make-A-Wish. We've done some few several parts.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. What's really unique is that the hospitals will reach out to us.
Oh yeah.
And so I don't know what organizations they come out of, but if they have someone that's really wanting to do something, like we had a special person that came out that was pretty sick, and he got brought out with an ambulance, and stuff, and if from a little ways away, just transporting. He was able to fish out there at our place, and that's what's humbling, is to be able to, have that moment, with everyone. But even on there, and then we've done things with Shriners groups. We have burn camp. We go to there's special camp out in Oklahoma. We've got to be a part of. We haven't got to be a part for the last year or so here lately, but we've worked with a lot of those, and a lot of those persons that come through stop by and visit with us. And
now, is it typically from them being like an active duty, or just any situation?
Any situation.
Okay.
That camp's pretty amazing out there, and it's in Oklahoma, and it's any person with a burn disability.
Okay. Yeah.
And there's this one lady, absolutely amazing, but she doesn't really have hands, or aren't, been burned there, but she can move, they have deals where she can do stuff. And she got to use some of her equipment. She caught her first bluegills and bass in forever and stuff. So, different groups like that. And oh my gosh, that is a loaded question of all.
Yeah, sorry. Well, and I meant too, like Bass Pro, all of those other.
Bass Pro supports us, helps out. We had our Fishing Dreams event.
Okay.
Fishing Dreams for veterans, Fishing Dreams for children. We had a big Fishing Dreams in Kansas City, and we just wrapped up one here in Branson.
So do you partner with them, or is that part of your...
So the Fishing Dreams Foundation is another one of our entities.
Gotcha.
That's out there. But Bass Pro helps host where
Okay.
we have a place to do the facility and we
Gotcha.
can bring things down. Our goal is to be able to do things in safe environments.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really important, especially when you have persons with disabilities
Yes.
and going there, because
Yeah.
our main thing is we want the children and the family safe.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really big for us and
Yeah.
secure.
Yes.
I mean, when you come out to Freedom Park, I mean, that's been the biggest compliment we've had, that,
Mm-hmm.
for all the field trips. I couldn't tell you how many schools that have brought field. We've had over 8,000 people that's come out there this
Oh my
year.
goodness.
We keep record of all that, and which is amazing. It's kind of a little, it's like MDC is a big supporter.
Okay.
Missouri Department of Conservation. They, a lot of folks, there's just not a facility like what we have.
No.
Around there where anyone in a wheelchair can come out there.
Yeah.
I mean,
because you have it like a sidewalk paved around the entire perimeter.
That's correct.
Correct. Yes. And then have trails as well. Is that right?
We do. So we have a special archery range out there. And then the adaptive equipment, we can put crossbows in that.
Yeah.
And then like one young man, super good, great guy. I built him a mouthpiece on one of the Genesis bows so he can compete in youth archery.
Wow.
And he's been doing real good. Now he's graduated from junior high and he's going to high school, and he's going to be starting that here.
Cool.
And that boy, and he's had one of our adaptive poles as well. And I built him one and presented that to him this year.
Mm-hmm.
JJ here in Lebanon.
Yes, where we're filming. Yeah,
where we're fielding here. I totally forgot on that. And what an incredible young man.
Yeah.
He's got one of our adaptive poles that we built for him, custom. And that story is kind of amazing also. A good friend of mine that guides out there in the lake saw a picture where they were trying to raise funds to build an adaptive reel for him.
Yeah.
And so send me a picture. So I said, well, I might be able to help him, but I still have to visit with the child to see what his abilities are. And he was involved in a real bad car wreck accident and lost his ability and come pretty much a quad, but he still had movement with his arms and head. And his personality.
Thank goodness for that.
Oh, yeah. His personality is absolutely amazing. He's driving.
Yeah.
He got a deal. He had to go through driving school again and doing all this. And oh my gosh, it was just so amazing. And so anyways, I said, where's this cat from? And they said he's from Lebanon. I was like, all right, well, Coach Starnes, one of the football coaches here, and is also the fishing coach, because we also direct the National Youth Fishing Association as well.
Awesome.
So I called him up, and he goes, JP, you're on my radar to call.
Yeah.
I saw that post. So he calls JJ's mom, and probably within 10, 15 minutes, she calls me. She goes, sir, I don't know you, but Coach Starnes says that you're a man I need to know. And so we were talking a little bit about what had happened. And so anyways, he come back from the hospital, Craig's Hospital, and I got to visit with him before their first game kickoff there. And I said, well, it might take it a little bit. I said, but I go, you're going to get stronger. And I go, your accident's pretty recent, new. And so I started ordering a motor, and then when I get them, we have to tear them apart and put different gears. And
oh my goodness,
make sure, because every motor is different. You think you get the same one, but the voltages aren't the same, and going from there. And so it's been quite a challenge. And so anyways, he came out to our place, and we were trying new buttons and new this, and I had ordered special braces for his arm, and I had wallered out certain PVC where it could hold certain rods, and then had a sleeve where we could protect his arm so he wouldn't get no rubs or anything. And I go, and I believe his right arm was stronger, and I go, have you ever tried anything with your left? And he goes, no. So I had a brace for the left arm. So we moved the rod over, and the motor sticks out a little bit, and he says, I hit that motor with my wheelchair, and it goes there. And so my son Andrew was standing there, and I said, why don't you work on different buttons, because we had different buttons that you could push and go there to find out, because he isn't able to push button. He has to use gravity and leverage, because he can't just push but at that time he probably can now.
Yeah.
But anyways, they figured out. I went back to the shop and reworked this, moved the motor over and did this. And next thing you know, he was able to toss a little casting plug of maybe 10 feet. And I said, that's good. Trying to figure it out, what to do with the reel and everything. Next thing you know, he did it like 20 feet. And Andrew had figured out the buttons that was best for him. We strapped it onto his wheelchair, And then next thing you know, he caught a little bass. We switched it out.
Uh-huh.
And I said, okay, I kind of know what it is. Well, before that day's over, he asked, he goes, JP, do you think I could have my birthday party out here? And I was like, well, sure. I absolutely. So his mom, and she was just super great lady, and his dad's just super awesome too. And you could tell there was a little bit of an emotion right there. 'Cause, going there, at that time you think of the now, the person that this, I'm not an expert, but from all the children, they're thinking of what they can do now.
Right.
And can I do this?
Yep.
And that was probably one of the first steps where he thought way ahead.
Hope.
Because this was in the spring early, and we're thinking in his birthday.
Yeah.
And so anyways, I went to work real hard, and we finally got that motor like 2 weeks. His birthday was like in August, and his mom had called, and I said, absolutely. I was like, what day? And we planned it all out.
Yeah.
Part of the football team came out, his friends, other family. And he goes, do you think I could use that rod that I got to fish with your son and stuff, Andrew, and everything? And I said, well, how about this? And I had made him a pole, his own pole. We painted it black and gold.
Yeah.
Well, the pole was black and gold, painted the reel, put gold on it. Of course, that's Lebanon's colors.
Of course,
Yellow jackets. And I said, this is going to be your pole.
Yeah.
Here, happy birthday.
Oh.
And so I give him that pole, and I don't know how many bluegill they caught. And I tell you, the kids there, they pack. They're like a wolf pack.
Yeah.
I mean, they're there.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it was a really
a big day
experience.
Yeah.
And it was so special. And then they planned a big trout fishing deal, and I think they said he caught like 15 trout.
Oh my goodness.
And so it's doing everything I think that he wanted. And if they ever have any problems with it, they just bring it back to me, and we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And what we need to do and,
Man.
and everything. It's pretty humbling. And these kids are, they're in their backyard. They're home. JJ's right there, and then we got Marshfield, and we got there.
Yeah.
It's very rewarding. We can't build everybody a pole, but
right.
we tried to do what we can. Now, if we had unlimited funds, we could do that, of course.
Exactly.
But I don't know how far that would go.
Right.
Or anything,
well, you need donors. And speaking of that, like, how do people find out more about if they want to donate towards that or contribute to what you're doing? What's the process there?
So we keep it very simple on all that. A lot of the groups, they know how to get, but our Facebook page, the fish-4-tails is the number 4.
Okay.
They can private message on that.
Okay.
They can also go on our phone numbers are all on there.
Okay.
And they can call. And of course, we are a non-for-profit.
Yeah.
And we do everything. We get people that donate to help with our programs. And
yes.
People donate to help with our rods and stuff. And, we do what we can do with all that. And everything's deductible, of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we couldn't do all this without the supporters that we have. I mean, and anything's greatly appreciated.
Yeah.
Whether it be $10 or 10,000,
exactly.
it'd be great because we spread it out very, very much.
I would say so. Yeah. How many events on average do you think that you do each year? Do you have a ballpark figure?
So with all of our groups and everything, we're right at around. We used to be over 100, but now we've kind of moved it all into more of the park. So So now constant around 70.
Oh my!
Events
that's a load of events.
Is.
That's a lot.
It is.
Yeah.
And so
just coordinating all of that.
Coordinating them all, and some will be 2 to 3 day events, and going there where we can have different groups coming in and doing different things and stuff. So about like that, and that's where my son Andrew has picked up and really enjoyed doing all that. And it's very rewarding.
Yeah.
And
incredibly.
And we get invited all over. We did. It's so funny. So I worked with a group up in Florida, Operation Whitley, and the young man was blown up with an IED. Just a great personality person, just in an unfortunate situation.
Yes.
There. And he lost his legs and his one arm, and then they reconstructed his other arm there.
Whoa.
And I brought my casting equipment down. It was in Florida, and he goes, I'm not going to use that caster. Well, you do it. He goes, if I can't hold a pole, can't do it, I'm not going to do it. So I had built a special pole, and I didn't know what we were going to get into because they told me, hey, we want you to go down, if you could go down there. So I have this picture, and it's so peaceful. We're out on a boat. Strongest man I ever met.
Yeah.
He could pick his whole body up on an arm. and
Whoa.
set him up on. There's like a deck, an 18-inch deck that goes all the way around the boat. And
Yeah.
we're in about 50 feet of water, 60 feet.
Okay.
And he just was able to flip over the bail where the bait just drops straight down. Goes the boat.
Yep.
And the waves was going. I took a picture of him just sitting there. And right when I took a picture, that pole folded over and he was going. And I jumped up and grabbed him.
Oh, my gosh.
And I was like, oh, my gosh. And he goes, you got me, brother? And I said, I got you. And he's pushing that button and he's hollering, surrender, surrender.
Oh, my gosh.
And I'm like, oh, my gosh. And I go, what have you got? He goes, I don't know. And I was like, there is no way this reel's going to hold up. No way at all. And sure enough, he pulled it in. And it was like a 3-foot hammerhead shark.
Oh, my word. I was about to say, was it a shark?
It was
probably a shark.
It was a little baby hammerhead. It may be the name of a different fish, but it was. It looked like a baby hammerhead.
Yeah.
It had teeth. It had the whole enchilada.
Oh, my
right there.
gosh.
And we laughed about that.
Yeah.
And he is the first person with a disability that had a Segway wheelchair.
Yeah.
And they had little legs that dropped down, and he could spin that thing on a dime.
Yeah.
And if you want to see a show, he goes, get on that wheelchair. I got on it. Big guys like me, we have no business on that. I mean, it was like getting thrown from an electric bull. I mean, it was not a
picturing that in my head.
Oh, it was a sight to see.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, but it was there. He laughed so hard, and
I bet.
And we had a very blessed day that day.
Yeah.
And I haven't talked to him in several years, but it was a humbling experience.
Oh.
It's just there's so many different stories. That
Like I said, I could listen to you tell these stories all day. This is so awesome.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, going there, but if they, our phone number is like 417-689-4066.
Okay.
Or 417-689-1108.
Okay.
And a lot of organizations, they can get with them. They'll know who we all are. And we try to do what we can do.
Okay.
And go in there. We try to do most of our stuff there at our Rogersville place, but we make it happen if we need to. We've gone to Palm de Terre, Stockton, all different rounds.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.